What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Talktagon here on Body Slams, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. First of all, make sure to follow on YouTube, follow on Facebook, on Twitch, and on every X account you see here. I always want to say Twitter, but it's X now. But here we are, first episode of Talktagon. I'm excited. We have a big show to look after. UFC 311. What a
Pretty solid.
show. Um, so I guess before we get into the show, we should get into what happened on Friday. So originally, it was supposed to be Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sarukian main eventing this pay-per-view in the Intuit Dome. But that wasn't the case after Arman got injured, a back injury, had to be pulled out. So therefore, Renato Moicano stepped up and fought Islam. But he was supposed to already fight Beneil Dariush. Dariush didn't get a fight. He got paid, but he was out.
Yeah, shout out to the
Big
UFC
deal.
for that. I was a little worried that Beneil was gonna get left in the dry and not get any sort of compensation, but I'm glad he got his win and his show money. So I thought that was cool for them. You know, giving him the win money, he might have not even made that if he fought Moicano, depending how that fight played out. So kind of for Beneil, kind of like it sucks you don't get a fight, but at least you get the win money.
Hey, get paid to do nothing.
Without getting punched in the head. So, it's a little bit nice.
Yeah, for sure. And then we had Jelton Almeida and Sergey Spivak moved from the prelims up to the main card because of that. And then some of the prelims got moved around, but nothing crazy. Only one fight out. And it we got into the show. So
Yeah.
before we get on that show, as you can see here, I'm Brady. This is Max. And we're going to be here after every UFC event, even fight nights, etc., all that stuff on Sundays at noon. So just a reminder there. Let's get into it. So we'll start from the bottom to the top. Now, me and Max made predictions ahead of the card. And we kept track, and we will keep track the entire time and go with, who's winning on the predictions, and we'll add them all together each week. So here we go. This week we tied.
Started out.
Went 8-5. Now you can see here down on the bottom, 20-25 total. We'll keep track of that the whole time, so you can see every week who's winning, etc. For this week, first week, tied 8-5. It was a rough one. It was a rough one as far as predictions go, but not terrible.
Yeah,
I've had worse.
Yeah,
I've had worse.
Yeah. There was a few big favorites we got wrong, but hey, it happens. Sometimes the big favorites, you can't trust them. They're a little bit too big of favorites, especially with betting. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a little risky with those big favorites. And there was two of them on this fight, Nakamura and Talbot. And both of them didn't go too well in terms of getting the win.
I was going to say there's too specific that. But I'll move that for now as we get into the first fight. So we'll start from the bottom of the card to the top, and we'll kick it off with Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. Tagir did win via unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. So this fight,
calling out the champ after.
Yeah, so I guess that was the big news here. A solid fight. I mean, Clayton, he did well, but it was all about Tagir and that wrestling, and really just,
Yeah.
putting
he was a little bit too much.
Yeah, kind of dominant. But the one thing I did want to point out, and I said this to you after the fight, he did call out the champ, which is Alexandre Pantoja, who's on a killing streak right now.
Yeah, he's clearing out the whole division.
I think this was. I'll just say it like this: if he were to fight Pantoja now, I do not think it would go well for him.
Yeah, I feel like I'd probably agree right now. I mean, if you're getting a title shot after beating Clay Carpenter, I'm like, I don't know if that's properly preparing you for Pantoja.
And I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I'll say that. He's definitely not getting the next shot, but if he were to, because he did call the champion out.
Yeah, and this division is getting a little thin in terms of fighters where Pantoja hasn't already defeated them at least once. Sometimes he's beaten guys multiple times. So, I do think it was kind of a smart call out because of that, where the division's kind of getting ran through by Pantoja. He's kind of running things for a while now, so there does need to be some new blood. And I think that maybe one more win, and I'd feel a little bit better about him getting the title shot. But yeah, he did what he needed to do out there, and tried to work the mic a little bit. I don't know if all the fans would agree with that call out, but at least he's trying.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, smart call out to try to insert yourself into the division there, but yeah, I don't know if you're getting a title shot for the first fight on the early prelims.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
know. And not
but
a lot of people were tuning in, unless you're an early prelim warrior like us.
I mean, at the actual arena, people weren't even showing up for the first fight on the main card. That
Yeah,
was wild.
that was crazy. The Clippers arena that it was in, Intuit Dome, it's a pretty crazy venue. The TV was like massive.
The
I haven't watched.
smoke,
Yeah, the smoke was insane. So I think that it was a really good venue there. I think that was the first time they'd been there for UFC at least. And
yep,
so yeah, I don't know if it was just because all the sad stuff going on with the LA fires, because I know it's in LA, so maybe that's why
yep,
people weren't showing up. But yeah, I
true.
thought that it was crazy looking stadium, that's for sure. All the lights in the background, every like seat had lights on it. So, but it was pretty empty, like you said. So you could really see every single light for
Yeah,
most of the card.
yeah. So, Tagir, I mean, good fight. Don't think he'll beat Pantoja right now.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
don't know
just
if
based off.
anyone can beat Pantoja lately. I mean,
Yeah, it's very true. But that's just based on. So my thought process behind this was he was very wrestling heavy in this fight, and I just I can't see him doing that to Pantoja. I mean,
yeah,
Pantoja has great defense, and he's just so scrappy, and
for
Tagir's
real.
not.
He's just been unstoppable lately. So yeah, gonna need a insane performance, I think,
But we
to
both,
beat the champ.
yeah, we both did, as you can see here, we both did pick Tagir, so we got that correctly.
Yep, we
So
started
that's
out 1
good.
and 0.
Started off good. Started
Yeah.
off good, and then it started to veer off a little bit,
Yep,
especially
I
for
veered off
you on
especially.
the second fight. So we get into Bernardo Sopaj versus Ricky Tercios here, and Bernardo Sopaj did win via unanimous decision 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28.
Yeah, good
Good
performance.
fight.
Yeah.
Really good
Ricky,
fight.
he's always gonna bring it, former Ultimate Fighter champion. Always has a bit of an interesting personality and style, but he's always gonna bring the fight, come at you 100%. He's never gonna slow up just because he's losing. So in terms of that, he definitely made it an entertaining fight, but he was definitely outmatched a little bit in terms of skills. So Sopai looked pretty good. I mean, we had seen him lose, I think, in his last fight, had that crazy flying knee knockout from Vinicius Oliveira. And yeah, so he bounced back well after that devastating loss. So man, I think
Yeah.
for him, I mean, pretty close to an A performance, like not A plus because it was, not super like crazy finish, but it was pretty dominant.
Yeah, and so I went with Sopaj because I like Ricky. I'll start off by saying that. I like Ricky. But he seems to put himself in these positions where he's just like balls to the walls,
Yeah.
but he doesn't win though.
Mm.
So he did that again. Now, credit to him, it was a very entertaining fight because of him. He was just going crazy, throwing
Yeah, he'll just
shots,
sit there
just
with his high guard. I was like, all right, bro, let's go.
start swinging. He was trying, but yeah, he just gets into too much of a firefight to the point where he did get busted up on his nose, I believe, and it didn't turn out too well. But he did last the entire time, and he was throwing. He was
Yeah,
certainly throwing. But, it didn't work out too well. Bernardo Sopaj, like you said, did get knocked out badly by Vinicius Oliveira.
that was a
So
crazy one.
he had to bounce back here. I believe he took that fight against Oliveira on short notice. So
I believe so, and I think it was his
this was his
debut.
yeah, and this was his proper first camp, and he did well. So
Yep. Yeah,
congrats to
man.
him.
I'm a little worried. What do we do with Ricky after this? I mean, he's not been doing too hot lately, so I mean, he's gonna have to start turning it around, or I feel like he might be close to getting cut at this point. Which you hate to see happen to a former tough champion, but I think it might be, really getting close to where he needs to start getting in the win column again.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only reason I don't think he'll be cut right now is because he won on tough.
Yeah,
Like that's the one thing saving him right now, because he was not the latest? Was he the latest? or the
No,
one
he was.
before?
Yeah, I think he
The
was a
one
little bit
before.
around. Yeah, he was when I think Brian Battle was on that season. I
Yeah,
think he was on
yeah,
that
yeah.
same
With
season.
Volkanovski.
Yeah, and Brian Ortega.
Yeah, and Ortega. Yeah, that was yeah.
It was
But
kind
yeah,
of a while ago now. It feels not that long ago, but time be
it
flying.
really does. Well, feels that way because as we spoke about earlier, Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler didn't fight.
Yep, yep.
Um,
I know. Bro, they
but yeah.
probably will never fight.
So as you can see here, I did pick Sopaj. You did pick
Yep.
Tercios, and
Tercios let me down, but
I'm 2 and
shout out
0.
to SoPi.
You're yeah. It was hey, Ricky was a solid underdog, and I thought about betting him, but I didn't. So I'm glad I didn't. But hey,
Yeah.
speak about an underdog that you should have bet.
Oh yeah. It would have been a
So we
big
have
payday.
Yuri Gafurov defeated Rinya Nakamura via unanimous decision 30-27 across the board, and I was absolutely shocked by this. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah, man.
What? Nakamura, what? Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, what was he doing? It was just bad. So
Mhm.
Nakamura came in here undefeated, like a couple others on the card who all
Yep.
lost their O's.
Yeah.
Um,
Crazy.
and he comes in and started off decently, and then all of a sudden man, he should have wrestled. He just didn't
Yeah.
wrestle.
Right? He's
He
like
j
Olympic level. But
Yeah, and he just decided to strike, and it didn't work out at all. He was getting beat up on the feet, and he still didn't shoot for a takedown. I was so confused at what his game plan was here.
yeah, dude, he just couldn't get anything going. I mean, sometimes it's a lot different wrestling when you're just facing wrestlers, in wrestling specific, and then fighting in MMA wrestling is a little bit of a different story where you got to worry about the stand up, you got to worry about knees coming at you when you're going for the takedown. So I think he still needs to, fully integrate, mixing the martial arts, not just, doing one at a time. Because yeah, Gafarov, I mean, he looked good out there. I feel like after the first round, it was like completely easy for him after that. He was not worried about his striking. He wasn't worried about his takedowns. He was just controlling the fight everywhere it went. And yeah, dude, this is another one of those fights where Nakamura was a massive, massive favorite, like minus 1,000 plus or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like, man, I definitely would not bet on Nakamura in that case. Where yeah, he was, I think, just a little bit too big of a favorite. I definitely still picked him to win. I definitely still think he was gonna win. But yeah, Gafarov was completely game, man. We've seen him in the UFC for a little bit now, and he's always, bringing his best shot. And he's a pretty well-rounded fighter, honestly. So he was able to, get it done out there and kind of teach him a lesson on mixed martial arts. You can't just come in here with one style, one dimensional, and expect to win.
Yeah, gotta get those hands up, and we see it kinda later on, we'll talk about, but the opposite of that. But yeah, like you were saying, if you if there's a guy who's even over plus 1,000, there's a couple of people who were, like, really, really high on this card,
Oh yeah,
as far as favorites go. Usually, I take, like, $1 and
yeah,
just throw it on the underdog just
right.
because. I didn't do it here. I wish I would've. I definitely wish I would've did this, but I just straight up just did not expect Nakamura to lose. Like, I just
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, it's especially with these younger fighters that are such big favorites too, where they don't have as much experience in the UFC yet, but based on the pedigree and how they've been doing so far, they'll be getting these insane betting lines and be huge favorites. And then they'll be
Yeah.
fighting against this veteran who, may not have the best record in the UFC, but they have a good amount of fights in the UFC. I've seen a lot of skilled fighters, and they just, I don't know if it's they underestimate them or they just aren't fully prepared for that level yet. But yeah, man, sometimes those big favorites that are, those young prospects, sometimes they're a little bit of a trap, and you end up losing some money if you bet on them.
Yeah. And just one last thing here that I wanted to mention, which I thought was interesting, but it's well known, but there's never been a Japanese UFC champion. And I feel like
That's crazy.
there there's talent that gets so close. I mean, we just saw it with Pantoja.
Yeah, Oscar.
Oscar comes in from outside and gets a shot right off the bat. He loses.
Yep.
We've seen it. We've seen it here in Nakamura. We've seen it with a couple other guys who you think like they could be the one, and then they're not. It's I feel bad. I'm actively rooting for someone from Japan to get a title shot and win, just because every
Yeah.
other country has them. Freaking Georgia has two, and Japan has nothing. Japan has like such a high population and so many fighters.
Yeah, and combat
And
sports is really popular there, you know? It's
huge.
like
Yeah.
not like it's some niche thing with that, you know? I mean, it's pretty niche just because getting punched in the head, but it's actually pretty popular, I mean, especially
Yeah.
boxing. They have some really good boxers.
Yeah. And then it just doesn't translate to UFC specifically, I guess. I don't know.
I know,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, that's the interesting one. Yeah, I thought Asakura might be able to do it, but they really rushed him in there and didn't pay off. So yeah, they're gonna need to go back to the drawing board after Nakamura. They probably thought it was gonna be him next, but yeah,
yeah.
I
I
don't know
mean,
now.
Asakura, great, but got a little bit of a short end of the stick because now we all know how absolutely incredible Alexander Pantoja is because
Yeah,
he does that to everybody. So,
yeah.
but we
Shout
do
out
move.
Pantoja.
Yeah, and which he said, I think I read that he said he wants to fight soon, like soon. So hopefully that
Let's
happens.
go.
Um, and then we moved on to the final early prelim, which was Aline Perez defeated Carol Hosa via unanimous decision 29-28, 29-28, 30-27. We both picked Perez here.
Let's go. I
So
got
that was
back
good.
in. I was 2-2 after 4. A little bit of a rocky start on my predictions.
And Perez was the underdog coming into this fight. I did bet on Perez because I don't know why she was the underdog,
Yeah, me
but she's
neither, honestly.
she's been finishing people. Carol, on the other hand, decision merchant.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I was interested to see that too. I did, take the underdog, and I did put a little money on the underdog too, and she ended up getting it done for us. I feel like it was pretty easy too. Where I mean, there was a little bit of a fight, but she
Yeah,
honestly was able to control most of the fight with her grappling, and once she got it down, it was hard for Hosta to get back up. So yeah, shout out to Perez. I mean, I don't know how she was the underdog. Honestly, she feel like she has a lot of momentum lately, and I think
yeah,
that it just keeps going up and up. Where she does have the crazy antics with the ass shaking and whatnot, but hey, whatever it takes to get butts in the seats and watching you, and then if you're gonna go out and win, that's even better.
yeah. And like you said, did start off a little rocky. I won't say she was terrible, but she's okay on the feet. Uh,
Yeah,
Obviously, the bread and butter is the grappling. So at first, they were a little back and forth on the feet, but when she got those takedowns, it was Carol couldn't get up, so she really dominated in that part of the fight. But shout out to her. She will now, I guess Tuesday, be in the top 10. So she'll
yeah,
be in
dude.
the top 10 and closer to a title fight. She's been calling out Kayla Harrison. So after the fight on the post fight press conference, she made a little hint that is not actually announced by UFC that the champ in the division is hurt
Oh,
and that
really?
she will not be defending her title anytime soon.
Hmm.
So she wants to fight Kayla Harrison for a interim title. Now, I don't
Hmm.
know if that's fully true
Yeah.
if she's hurt, but
I
maybe.
mean, yeah, I mean, at this point, she's probably one of the more well-known women fighters in that division. So, and she has the win streak to back it up. So, we've definitely seen the UFC go in that direction in terms of giving people title shots. They have a good win streak, they have a good name. They may not be the highest ranked, but if they're in the top 10, I mean, you never know. They could get in there.
Yeah, and Kayla Harrison has been calling out Juliana Pena for
Yep.
since she came into the UFC.
Yeah.
So she wants a fight, but if she's actually hurt, um, maybe do the
Right.
fight. I don't know, but I don't know if UFC will give Perez a interim title fight at number 10 right now. But
Hmm.
hey, you never know. Look at the main event of this card.
Yeah. It could be an
But
injury, a back injury
different
on the bottom.
circumstances. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good fight for Perez there, and we move on to the normal prelim card. But before we do, make sure to get in the comments here. You can add comments. We'll read them off. We'll listen to what you guys have to say. We'll pop up on the screen, all that good stuff. We got all the fancy stuff here. And yeah, let us know. Also, make sure to share, like, all that stuff. But yeah, we move on to the regular prelims. And we had Grant Dawson defeated Diego Ferreira via unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. Another
Let's go.
weird fight here. Uh, for Ferreira, his coaches were like telling him what to do, and then he just wasn't listening. And then his coach, like verbally in the corner, was like, "No, no, don't do that." Like it was funny.
He's like, don't
But
make
yeah,
me go in there for you, bro.
Grant Dawson, another one who was really wrestle heavy here.
Yeah.
Dominated on the ground. Like dominated on the ground. There was nothing for Diego to do.
Yeah, man. Grant is one of those guys too, where he was undefeated for a while in the UFC. Coming up, he did lose to Bobby Green, but
yeah,
now he's on the comeback, and he looked really good there. I feel like he's looking a little better on the stand-up. Still not the best striking, but if he's able to keep improving that to go along with his grappling, he's going to be a real dangerous fighter. And I think this is a good step in the right direction. We've seen Ferreira kind of having a bit of a career resurgence lately, getting some nice wins, and so glad that Grant was able to overcome that opponent and got a pretty easy W. Honestly, like he didn't have to struggle too hard. I mean, it did go the decision, I believe, but it was still a dominant performance.
Yeah, and then following the fight, he did call out Beneil Dariush. He said he wanted that Beneil Dariush fight, and he would be ready to go for UFC Miami.
Yeah, I kind of like that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets Grant Dawson higher up for sure because this guy's not ranked, by the way, which is insane because his only loss was Bobby Green. And he would have been ranked if he would have won that, but he didn't.
I know.
But if he fights Beneil, that's a very good fight to push him closer to top 10 even. So
yeah,
we'll see if that actually happens. Obviously, I'm going to assume that Beneil wants to fight soon because he trained this whole damn time and didn't get the fight.
Yeah.
So maybe the Miami card, which I think is in March. I think it's in March or April. They'll fight. Hopefully, Dana was asked about it at the post-fight press conference if that was a fight to make, and he said, "I don't know. We'll talk about it Tuesday," which he usually does. So we don't know. But a solid call out there. I'll take it. I'd like to see it. Obviously, Beneil solid in the grappling too. So
I feel like that'd be a solid matchup. Yeah, I feel like I probably favor Beneil, but Grant is one of those up and comers, and Beneil's not getting any younger.
Yeah, and for this one,
it
got moved up. Yeah. Got moved up, but we did both pick Dawson. So
shout out Dawson.
Shout out Dawson for sure. And shout out Bogdan Guskov. He fought up next.
Oh, yeah.
He defeated Billy Elikana via submission guillotine round 2. First finish of the night. Finally, after 6 fights, we get a finish. And then it started rolling after that.
Yeah.
But he did get the submission. He just gave up round 1. I don't know what he did round 1. So Billy comes in. This is a short notice fight for Billy and his debut. And he comes in on short notice and up a division.
He looked small.
He did. But Guskov came in, obviously looking for the wrestling. Then all of a sudden, Billy ended up on top and almost had him out there.
Yeah.
He had the neck. Guskov wasn't tapping, though. And then he ended up reversing it like 15 seconds left in the round.
Yeah.
And he made Billy tap in the first round after the horn, though. So he did tap after the bell. And the crowd
was crazy.
The crowd didn't hear the bell. They only saw the replay. And they started booing because they thought that he got away with tapping and not losing. But it was after the bell, so it was fair.
I feel like even the ref didn't even hear the bell because I feel like he was holding on a little late. I'm like, are they going to make him let go? I'm like, dang. I thought he was about to be out cold right there. But
that would have sucked.
I know, right? Out cold after the bell, right? What happens then? Does that count as a draw or no contest?
Right? Probably.
Yeah, and then Guskov gets it done in the second round. He gets him hurt, and then he's just kind of sitting near the fence, and then he's just pounding him down. And then Guskov's like, all right, if you're just going to sit there, I'll just choke you out. He's like, He's like, all right, bro. He's like, if you want me to choke you out, I will. He's like, you're just sitting there, bro. That was a very weird ending.
This was so strange. So if you didn't see it, Billy was getting hit against the cage, kind of like dropped down like, they usually do. And he goes to a knee. Guskov kind of backs up.
I thought he was about to line up the knee. Oh, my.
He did that a couple times. I was like, don't knee him. Do not knee him.
Yeah. I'm like, don't go Peter Yan and get yourself disqualified right now.
But he kind of like backs up a little, like trying to let him up, and then Billy just like didn't get up. Like he just straight up
So he's
didn't get
like,
up. He just stood on one knee and like acted like they were in a fighting stance, but he was on his knees. And then Ghost Cop was like,
all right, bro,
"What are
I'll
you
just punch
doing?
you.
Like, what are you doing?" The ref was like kind of also like half in, half out. He didn't know what to do because he was still like this, and he was like looking like he was like gonna box, but he was on his knee. And then
Yeah.
Ghost Cop was like, "Okay," and then just hit him with an uppercut, and then hit him a couple more times before getting him to the submission and just finishing him. That
Bro.
was so weird. I don't know if he's just tired, if he's just exhausted, which he might be coming in on short notice, but to stand up, I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah, I've never seen that before where it's just like literally like, all right, I'll submit you, bro. He just was literally just was like bent over and grabbed his neck and it was done. I was like, all right, it was that easy.
He just gave it to him. It was weird. And I just wanted to add, I don't know why, but on DraftKings specifically, because that's where I bet on, Guskov came in as an underdog. He started as an underdog, so I did get him an underdog money. And then obviously the line
That is
flipped.
crazy.
I
What?
do
Yeah,
not know why he came in an underdog, but I got it. It wasn't crazy amount. It was like plus one something, but he was underdog. And he
that's
came in,
crazy.
it flipped. It obviously flipped, but I
Yeah, you
don't know
texted me
why.
that, and I was like, he can't be serious. I'm like, Goose Gob underdog. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, that must have just been a typo. But yeah, what?
It,
That's
it came
crazy.
in. It came in. First one, it came in as him
Getting
underdog, and then
blessed.
he won. So shout out to that. But it
Bro,
obviously flipped. Still, like if you went to go bet day of, or I think maybe on Friday night, he was like a 600 favorite or something, which he should
yeah,
have been from the start.
yeah.
Because
I
what the
mean,
fuck was that?
bro, yeah. I mean, he's been around for a little bit now in the UFC, looking good every time I see him. And this other guy
Yes.
coming in first fight, short notice, somehow's the
Yeah.
favorite. That is crazy. Someone must have got fired for that line. I mean, that's
And
bad.
Guskov has a sick ass back tattoo, so shout out to that.
For real, dude. He's
Uh,
like evil Anthony Smith.
he really is. And we did pick both Guskov. But as you can
Let's
see here,
go.
Guskov and the Reese fight got flipped up
Yep. I know.
after.
I was confused. I'm like, is the Reese fight not happening? But then
But I
Brady was
can't.
like,
When
yeah.
you said so, I told I bet on Reese. We'll talk about it. But he was supposed
Hate
to
to
be
bring it up.
next. He was supposed to be next, and then like another fight popped up, and I was like, wait a minute. So I ran on DraftKings. I was like, please tell me it didn't get canceled. It wasn't canceled, so I was like, okay. I went on Twitter. I was like looking, no, not canceled. And then I realized I looked at the card thing that UFC puts out, and I realized that he was up on the second. I was like, okay, okay, they moved it because I made
Bro,
him.
they just flip things around.
Um, but I guess that's now. So
It's here.
Jesus Christ. So Zachary Reese. I'll start off by saying the results. Asmat Bekov defeated Zachary Reese via knockout round one.
Insane. Ground and pound.
Probably the worst knockout on the card as terms of like he was out.
Yeah. Visuals. Yeah. He was like laying like a starfish on the ground.
Yeah, it was bad. But Zachary Reese, before this fight, before he just got knocked out, was on a roll. He was on a little bit of a roll. He got like two knockouts in the first round, and he looked like he had cinder block hands. He was killing everybody. So I bet on him. I was like, man, he's an underdog. I'm taking him. He has knockout power. Then Azmat took him down, and he did okay. He did okay from the bottom. Zach did. He was striking. He was throwing. He was kicking. He was trying to get out, throwing short little elbows, which were nasty. And then he got hit bad,
Oh yeah. Bad.
and like really bad, and it put him out from the ground and pound, like out cold in the first round. So Azmat gets the knockout win, but Zachary Reese and his team went on Instagram after the fight, and they're protesting the decision or the knockout, I guess, because they say he got hit in the back of the head, and that's what knocked him out. And he did put a photo up. He had cuts on the back of his head and some redness, where obviously he took some sort of strike to the back of the head because
Yeah.
there was like two different cuts on his head. They say I have to go back and watch it, but they say it was because of a punch in the back of the head that knocked him out. Um,
Interesting.
what the issue here that I see is one, it was ground and pound. I don't think he hit him in the back of the head. If he did, I believe it's technically legal because if you get hit in the back of the head when you're like moving around, that's your fault. So if
Yeah.
you're turning away, if he's trying to turn and get up and he's hammering down hammer fist and you like turn like that and get hit in the back of the head, I think that's your fault because of
Yeah.
you moving.
I
So
agree. Yeah.
it's your
I
fault.
mean, yeah, I don't think he can win that appeal. I mean, maybe if it happened, and maybe if they noticed it during the exchange, but if I'm being honest, I didn't even notice any back of the head shots. I thought it was all to the temple. I'm like,
Me neither.
maybe when he went unconscious, he hit the back of his head on the canvas. I don't know.
That's exactly what I thought. Maybe that's like boom, because he was out. He was
Yeah.
definitely out. So
Yeah, that's not a question.
he
Yeah.
was like laying there for a little while.
Yeah, I feel like Reese is one of those guys. He's either gonna get a crazy knockout or he's gonna unfortunately get knocked out.
Justin
But yeah,
Gaethje type
unfortunately, he
fighter.
was the one getting knocked out this time. But yeah, I mean, it looks like he was fighting a monster. I mean, Azamat Bekoev. I mean, he has some crazy ground and pound to be able to get him out cold with those shots. I mean, they weren't the most insanely like long shots. Like he was just freaking just doing a flurry of ground and pound shots, and then he was out, and then he just kept going. I was like, oh my god, that is a brutal finish. I was a little worried for Reese afterward, but he ended up getting up and being able to walk and be relatively okay. But yeah, that was a scary visual. Him just lying on the ground after those shots, because man, those are some hard shots.
I chalk it up to the haircut curse.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
had a
We'll
nice
talk about
mullet.
that later. Yeah.
He cut off his
The
mullet and
haircut curse.
bald, and then he lost. Um, as for this fight, sadly, I did go Reese. You didn't. You went back off. So you
Back in
got.
the ring.
I took my first L, and then
Yeah, I think we started off tied, and
yeah,
then we were feeling good going into the main prelim headliner, Peyton
man,
Talbot.
I
Everyone's
am.
hyping him up, us included.
Yeah. So to give a little bit of backstory, myself and Max used to do another show for a different website, and we covered Dana White Contender Series every single week. So we watched this Peyton Talbot come through Contender Series live. We loved it. We were like, "This is our guy. He's awesome. Killed it. Love the crazy hair, big
Yep.
ass circle tattoo. It's sick. He's awesome." And then he goes into the UFC, killing it more.
Yeah.
First round
Destroys
knockouts,
Cameron Simon, who we also
which
thought was
was,
pretty good too.
yeah, I thought that was going to be a hard fight for Peyton, and he made it look easy. And then he comes in against a veteran.
Yep. A tough veteran.
Barcelos.
No slouch.
Barcelos, I wouldn't say just me. Nobody gave this guy a chance. Peyton Talbot was the biggest betting favorite on the card at like plus 1,600, I believe.
Yeah.
And he did not look like the biggest betting favorite because he cut his hair.
He was
No,
unrecognizable.
he was another one who cut his hair. He had the big O'Malley type afro hair, and he trimmed it down to like a tiny little afro type hair,
Yep.
and he lost. Don't get your hair cut before no, but for real, he went in there and I don't know. I didn't feel like it was the Peyton Talbot we usually see. He was throwing some decent strikes, but he wasn't really connecting. He did connect a little bit with a crazy spinning back kick, which is cool. But the issue here was certainly the defensive wrestling. He
Oh yeah.
doesn't have it. It's like non-existent. Barcelos was able to take him down and hold him there, and Peyton Talbot couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah. Right. It just is one of those fights where he's gonna have to learn from it, because yeah, he definitely Barcelos exposed that, he definitely is gonna be able to be taken down at this moment in time, and not be able to get back up if you know what you're doing. And Barcelos definitely knew what he was doing yesterday and took a lot of hype from Payne Talbot. So I feel like Barcelos, this is probably his biggest win up to date in the UFC right now. I think he's like 8-4 in the UFC after this. So 8-4 in the UFC is like really solid. he doesn't have any like too insane of names. I think he beat Said Nurmagomedov a few years ago. I feel like that's his best win in the UFC. But yeah, Barcelos is no slouch at all, but it was just like because Payton was looking so good and just destroying everyone, he was just a massive, massive favorite. And man, did not show it in this fight. Showed that he's going to need to work on the defensive wrestling, and even I feel like his striking looked off, like you said, where when he was landing, he was doing had a lot of pop in those shots, but he was not as accurate, and he wasn't able to set it up as much as he normally does. And I feel like a lot of that does have to do with he was worrying about the takedowns, like the whole fight. You'd see he'd even be like flinching anytime he'd fake the takedown, and yeah, it started getting pretty apparent that he just was not going to be able to handle the takedowns, and he was probably going to lose the fight unless he got a knockout, but he wasn't able to.
Yeah, and then obviously, like always, you see everyone online. Fraud check, fraud check, fraud check.
Fraud check, yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I mean,
I wouldn't
there's
say that
obviously a flaw in his game. If this was a straight up stand up fight, I think he would have maybe won.
Yeah, I feel like he had him wobbled like in the very last round, but then got taken down again.
Yeah, definitely the issues of wrestling. He has to work on that, and we'll talk about that a little later, especially in the co-main event. But we said it before. If you come into the UFC, it's so hard to win and be on a consistent win streak with just one asset. Like if you're just a boxer, just a kickboxer, or just a wrestler, you at this point in time in 2025, you need everything because there's so many people who are so well rounded. You can't just be a great striker anymore because then they're just going to take you down. And even if they're decent at wrestling, if you have no wrestling, you lose basically. So you have to get some sort of defense. You have to.
100%. I mean, especially when as you keep moving up, it's like Barcelos is tough veteran. Like I said, 8-4 in the UFC now, but there's a lot tougher guys in the division too. So it's not going to get any easier whatsoever. So yeah,
especially wrestlers in his division. Look who the champion is.
Yeah. For real. I mean, Merab just showed that even if you're Nurmagomedov, you gotta be ready to defend some wrestling against him. So yeah, I feel like Payton has a lot to work on, but I think he has the talent to improve and get it right. We'll just see if he's able to focus and actually, I feel like there's a little bit of distractions going on in this fight. Everyone's talking about him and Frank Ocean, maybe doing some jiu-jitsu outside of camp. So, maybe that was a little bit on his mind, distracting him. But yeah, no excuses. Barcelos is the better man. I mean, he looked good out there. And I'm interested to see where Barcelos goes from here because he's definitely a pretty old fighter for, someone who's not ranked yet. But I feel like after that performance, I feel like he's on his way where if he can keep this momentum going, he can actually start piling up some wins and end up being in the top 15 and fighting some really good guys because he's 38 right now. Definitely not getting any younger. But, I mean, may as well throw him in there against someone tougher after that performance.
Yeah, if I'm him, I make a quick turnaround, just trying to get as much fights in 2025 as you can.
Yeah.
And try. At least just try.
Get a ranked fighter, and then if he gets another win there, I mean, sky's the limit in terms of who he could fight.
And obviously, as you probably already know, we both did pick Payton Talbot.
Yeah. So far, the big favorites are letting us down, man.
Yeah, not fun. But that was the prelim headliner, and when we head into the main card, where we kick things off on the pay-per-view portion of the event. Now we get to see the full Intuit Dome. The lights are flashing, the big banners on the screen showing everybody's face. There's smoke coming down. There's lights everywhere, and it looked cool. And we kick off with Ranier de Ritter with his second UFC fight, defeating Kevin Holland via submission rear naked choke in round 1.
Yep. He made it look easy too.
Very easy. Now we know why at the pre-fight press conference, Kevin Holland said, "Please do not shoot on me in the first 3 minutes of the fight."
He's like, bro, let's make it a little entertaining.
But the Ritter did not listen. And
I mean,
for his sake, good. Yeah. Kevin Holland, I feel like he has this tendency to, when he fights a wrestler or a grappler, he's like, I have to test myself against them. Instead of sticking to what he's good at, which is the striking, he's like, I'm gonna try to submit them or try to out grapple them. And then most of the time he fails. He did get that one submission over Kiesa one time, which was crazy. But
Yeah.
he's like, I have to try. And it didn't work out. He was trying to defensively wrestle here, but Ranier de Ritter literally made it look so easy that I was very impressed at how
Me
easy
too.
he made it look over to just get Kevin Holland down, turn him over, and submit him. I was like, holy shit, he just did that so quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Kevin Holland was the underdog in this fight.
Yeah.
So Kevin has four losses in his last five. I don't know what you do with Kevin Holland at this point. I mean, obviously he fights in two divisions. He's back and forth, but
Yeah. Tough.
he has to fight someone who's not ranked, and he's gonna have to probably. This is where I'm conflicted because I'm like, I don't think UFC, because of how entertaining he is and how entertaining he is on the mic and how he hypes up fights, they're not gonna like. I don't believe they're gonna like bump him down in the prelims or anything like that. But as far as opponents, maybe he should get someone who's not ranked and someone who's a little lesser to even maybe just get a little bit of his mojo back because he certainly needs it, or else he
Yeah.
keeps losing to these higher ranked guys or big prospects. He's gonna probably get cut, and I don't think that's good, obviously, and I don't think he wants that. So take an easier fight, get a win,
Yeah.
and then try to work your way back up because at this point, Kevin Holland's not gonna see the championship realm at all if he
Yeah.
continues to do what he keeps doing. As far as Ranier de Ritter, I was more impressed with this fight than his debut. I thought when his debut he looked okay. He
Yeah.
won,
I
but I
agree.
thought he looked okay. Uh, the striking was terrible in his first fight. He
Yeah.
got beat up until he got on the ground and won.
So Gerald Mearshart was kind of piecing him up, but that's not a good look. So I was
Yeah,
definitely worried for him coming into this against Kevin.
me too. That's exactly what I felt. And Kevin Holland was the underdog. I did put a little bet on Kevin Holland because of Mearshart piecing up Renier de Ritter, and Kevin Holland is a way better striker than Mearshart. So I thought he's gonna knock this guy out. No, he did not. Renier de
Yeah.
Ritter worked
Yep.
on that grappling and finished him off real fast.
Phil De Ritter, former champion in ONE FC, so I mean, no slouch whatsoever. And he definitely had a lot to prove after that first fight he had in the UFC, where he did get the win, but he did look a little bit iffy versus Gerald Mearshart, who obviously veteran, very tough fighter, always going to be game out there. But people kind of expected him to do better in that fight, but he comes out here and makes absolutely easy work of Kevin Holland, someone I thought that would maybe give him some trouble on the stand up. But it was no trouble whatsoever. Kevin just
Oh,
a little bit of a weird week for Kevin. Challenging Rampage Jackson on his podcast to fight him, even though
yeah, that was
Rampage is
weird.
like 50 plus. I'm like, what are you, Jake Paul, trying to fight these older, retired guys? I'm like, so yeah, Kevin needs to get back to the win column, like you said. Freaking one win in his last 5 fights. That's just not good enough. Not good enough whatsoever. And I feel like he's almost. It's like I know he's kind of found his niche of like being a company man, always fighting whenever they tell him to, always being available to fight. But I feel like at this point, maybe it's like starting to be a detriment where he's not able to actually improve, have these camps where he's actually able to get better, where he's just going at fight after fight after fight, not actually getting better and improving. It's like, I feel like the Kevin Holland we saw last night was the same Kevin Holland we saw 5 fights ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that Kevin, I feel like if he does want to take this to the next level, he's going to need to change something. But if he wants to just being a journeyman and losing most of his fights and just being a gatekeeper, that's where he's at right now. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate because I love Kevin and I want to see him, beat those top guys and, be in those championship, maybe one day talks. But right now, I just don't think it's realistic if he doesn't change something because, yeah. Or at least find a division. I mean, right now he's flipping left and right, welterweight, middleweight. I feel like he was better at welterweight, but then he was fighting better guys at welterweight. Like MVP, and then Jack Della Maddalena. He lost to both of them, so he's like, let me go back up. And then he was losing more, so I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, and the wrestling was a heavy criticism on Kevin Holland early.
Yeah,
and I thought he was working on it. I swear he went. He took some jiu-jitsu classes. He was really working on the wrestling. Maybe he just did in this camp. I don't know, but he needs to work on it more because it's as I said earlier about Peyton Talbot, you have to be well-rounded now.
Yeah.
This isn't UFC 1 anymore. You don't have to have you don't if you're this isn't like you have one skill set and you fight another guy who also has one skill set. No, you're fighting everyone. Well, not everyone.
You're not fighting a sumo wrestler anymore.
You're fighting people who have a very, very, very well-rounded skill set, and they can do it all. And when you get in there with one less skill set than them, they're just going to use that to their advantage. So Kevin needs to work on the jiu-jitsu.
And I feel like even mindset, it's like De Ridder is in the UFC to become a UFC champion. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, is Kevin in the UFC to become a UFC champion? He's literally said in the past he doesn't even care about the belt and just wants to be a journeyman, company man, making money, fighting as much as he can. So I'm like, it's like, well, if in your mind you're already like, I don't even want to be the champion, I feel like you're going to train a little bit differently if you're training to just be a journeyman or training to be a UFC champion. I feel like there's a little bit different levels of motivation. Obviously, I don't know much about that. I mean, I'm not trained to be a journeyman or a UFC champion, but I feel like Kevin has the talent to, be one of those top fighters where he has a crazy range. And if he was able to stay at welterweight and work on his wrestling, I feel like he'd be so dangerous at 170, but he's kind of that in between where he's so tall for welterweight, it makes him hard to make weight, but then he's so skinny for 185, he's able to just get ragdolled by these stronger, bigger, heavier guys. So a little bit of a tough spot for Kevin, but yeah, back to the winner, De Ridder. Man, I mean, after this, I feel like he's probably going to get a ranked opponent soon, and I feel like he has the pedigree to be getting one pretty soon. I mean, former champion of ONE FC, one of the better promotions in the entire world. So I think that, man, he's on his way up now.
Yeah, let me see here real quick. What could be next for De Ridder as far as opponents go?
I'd like to see him versus Delize. That'd be a good one. They both just beat Kevin.
That's true.
Them together.
Yeah. And let me see here. Let me look up these rankings because De Ridder's in a weird spot because he came in with a lot of hype, and obviously he won against Mearshart, which is not a crazy name, but it's a name. And now he's beaten Kevin Holland. So now
2-0 in the UFC.
So now man, this division is tough. I don't even know. Who do you fight? Because he can Ranier De Ridder if he is middleweight or welterweight, like Kevin does. Both divisions are absolutely stacked. I mean, you have middleweight. The number 15 in middleweight is Michel Pereira, and number 15 in welterweight is MVP, who beat Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Let's say he fights welterweight at that bigger weight class. You got Michael Venepage, you got Vicente Luque, then you got Carlos Pratas, Michael Morales, Stephen Thompson, who I think would be a decent fight there.
Yeah.
Stephen. Jeff Neal, Colby Covington, who probably won't fight again. Gilbert Burns, Ian Gary, Buckley, Sean Brady, Jack Della Maddalena, Usman, Rakhmonov, Leon Edwards champion. That's tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I feel like he'll probably be a middleweight. Just would this fight was a middleweight, right? Or no? Was this a welterweight fight?
I don't even remember.
Let me see.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, okay, it was a middleweight fight. So I feel like he'll probably be a middleweight. But I mean, that's not a tough division. That's a tough division too.
Middleweight. Michel Pereira, Farah Magomedov, Jack Hermanson, Anthony Hernandez, Paulo Costa, Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen, Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, Kyle Braulio, Nasruddin Imavov, Robert Whitaker, Hamza Chimaev, Adrian Adesanya, Sean Strickland. and then
Crazy.
Dricus as champ.
Whitaker's up there. Yeah, I mean, I heard Whitaker might go up again. I'm like, that'd be crazy. But yeah, back to Ritter. Yeah, I feel like maybe him versus Jack Hermanson could be a good matchup, where they're both
Him versus
kind
Jack
of,
Hermanson. Him versus Anthony Hernandez, I think, would be solid because they have the wrestling back and forth.
fluffy. Yeah.
Delize, like you said, would be solid. But then you're starting to get up there. I think he could have a decent fight against someone like Vettori, which would get him up into number 7.
Brendan Allen. I feel like that'd be a good one.
Yeah, Brendan Allen. But then you start to get into like the Whitakers, the Hamzats, the Israel Adesanya's, the Sean Stricklands, and it's like, is it too early for that? This is only his second fight.
I feel like you may as well throw him to the wolves. I mean, he's already proven champion at one championship, so we've seen that, they do like, those champions outside of the UFC, even though they don't like to admit it. They do know that they have a little bit more name value than just some random contender coming up. But
yeah, I mean, look at Kaya Segura.
Yeah, for real, straight to a title shot, straight to the wolves, right? So I feel like at this point, after you beat Kevin Holland, I feel like you're ready for a ranked opponent. So I feel like pretty much any one of those guys, 10 through 15, I feel like would be good.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I think there's a couple guys. Maybe him and Shara can go at it. Two newer guys who are like
that'd be an interesting matchup of styles where Shara's got that crazy striking.
Crazy.
And the Red is a little more well-rounded.
So obviously we both pick Kevin.
We both pick Kevin. Kevin, we love you. So that's how we back you up. And then you always disappoint us. Not always, but a lot of the times you do.
You always disappoint.
Not always. You do put on some fun fights and win sometimes. But lately, dude, one win in the last 5 fights, dude. I think I've picked you in almost every one of those, and you let me down.
Next fight, I ain't taking Kevin Holland.
Yeah. So it's nothing personal, but because of this,
maybe it's our fault.
Pick against you. Yeah, I think it might be our fault.
We got to pick against him for him to win.
We'll
help you out, Kevin.
Yeah. So next time, Kevin, we're gonna pick against you. You better win, and then we'll just do that every time.
Yeah. So we both picked Kevin. That was a rough one for us, but then we finally split after a couple fights where we picked the same. We had Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak, where you went Spivak, I went Almeida, and this was originally a prelim fight because of Dariush and Renato Moicano getting taken off. This was moved up to the main card. So Jailton Almeida did defeat Sergey Spivak via TKO in round 1.
He looked good, dude.
I picked Almeida. I was happy with this. So the reason why I picked Almeida was just because sheer size, dude. He gets in there, and you forget how big he is. He's fucking huge.
And he's fought a light heavyweight, which is crazy, dude. I'm like,
yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
So he gets in there, and Spivak, nothing against him, but he just like once Almeida got a hold of him, because Spivak did have him for a little bit, but once he was in control, I don't know how strong he is, but Spivak couldn't move. So he got him down, put him on his stomach, and flattened him out with ease. And Spivak is not a small guy either.
Oh, yeah, not at all. They call him the polar bear for a reason.
Then he TKO'd him with strikes while he was down on his stomach. Easy.
Insane. I thought, after that Curtis Blades fight where Almeida gets his takedown stuffed and then just like gets his head pounded in by Blades, I thought maybe we'd see that happen again here, because I know Spivak. I thought honestly Spivak would be a lot stronger than he was compared to him, but no, man. Almeida showed him that, man, you're gonna need to be literally one of the best wrestlers in the division if you're gonna want to be able to hang with me. And Spivak showed that he's not there. And at one point Spivak was on top of him. I was like, let's go, Spivak, looking good. And then my legal stream started, my very legal ESPN Plus stream started lagging. And then next thing I know, Almeida was on top and was pounding him out. I'm like, oh my god! I'm like,
he very easily
what happened, but it's not looking good anymore. And then it was over from there pretty much. Once, like you said, once Spivak was not controlling him, it was over.
Yeah, he very easily reversed it and took control, and they just How good is Curtis Blades? That's what I have to say. How
Yeah,
good is
seriously,
Curtis
dude.
Blades? How strong is Curtis Blades?
For
Because
real.
Almeida looked absolutely scarily strong here. Like to do that to Spivak, it's like
Yeah.
he just forced him over and then forced him on his stomach and beat him down. All that, holy shit! Like I
Yeah.
picked
It was
Almeida. I
insane.
didn't expect that.
Yeah. For real. I was like, all right, Spivak is gonna, struggle a little bit, but I think he'll be able to overcome it and win. But nah. Almeida showing that, man, he was a really hyped up guy, coming up. He was fighting at light heavyweight and heavyweight. It was kind of like, where's he gonna fight at? But then he decided to just stay at heavyweight, and I think that was the right choice. I feel like with his grappling, I feel like he just has such an advantage over so many of these heavyweights that, you know, aren't as there technically. And yeah, he just showed that, man, he's going to be a real problem for these heavyweights.
Yeah. So let's take a look here because it's getting a little interesting. So Jelton Almeida right now is number 6 in the division. Right ahead of him is Blades, who beat him.
That's going to be
Then
tough
we
to
have
jump him.
the other Sergey Pavlovich. We then have Alexander Volkov, Cyril Gane, and Tom Aspinall, who's a champ. He's probably not going to fight Aspinall. He has been calling out Cyril Gane. He wants Cyril Gane. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not even sure really what's up with Cyril Gane right now.
Yeah.
But if he were to fight Gane and beat Gane, he would boost up to number 2 in the division, and then would be next for a title shot. I honestly think he could beat Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
If he were to take him down and do what he did, I mean, we saw how easy it was for John Jones to get down Cyril Gane and
Yeah.
choke him out. So I think Almeida could do that too. But then it gets interesting with some of the wrestlers. Does he have to beat Blades again? It's not going to be easy. Tom Aspinall, no slouch in the wrestling either, and plus the absolute brick hands. And then John Jones, same thing.
Yeah.
So it
Totally.
gets a little testy here in the heavyweight division, but I like Almeida kind of giving us something. I feel like the heavyweight division, everyone always talks about it.
Yeah.
It's the main event, it's the main attraction, but recently it's not, though, because we're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
There's the
we waited
there's
forever to see John Jones and Stipe, and look what happened there.
Yep. Yeah, I know. They just need to hurry it up and make Tom versus John, so it's not holding up the division. Because right now, yeah, it's been held up. Tom has to defend his interim belt. John has to defend his belt. I'm like, why are we defending 2 different belts? So why don't we just fight each other? Crazy solution. Bring the 2 belts and combine them into one. There shouldn't be 2
Fight,
belts.
please
Literally, I'm
fight.
like, Dana always talks about boxing. Oh, why is there so many belts? But why does the heavyweight division have 2 belts, though? I'm like, the interim belt is supposed to be for when the champion comes back, he fights him. Not, no, you guys both defend the belts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're not.
I'm like,
Neither
bro.
of them are hurt. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, for real. So they're just overcomplicating it for no reason. So yeah, I think that they need to get the titles figured out, and then that'll really, make things clear on where everyone stands in the division. Because right now, yeah, it's like someone needs to get a title shot, and obviously it's gonna be Tom. I mean, I hope it's gonna be Tom, but
Yeah, and they
like
they
hopefully,
said when John Jones beat Stipe, they said once John Jones or Stipe step into the cage and win this fight, or once the fight starts, Tom Aspinall is no longer interim champion because they're active. Well, Tom's still walking around with the belt, and on the UFC rankings, beside Tom's name, it says interim champion. So
yeah,
he's still considered the interim champion. Why? No offense to Tom, I like Tom, but make that fight.
yep, 100%. And then yeah,
Both
that
are
just
active.
opens everything up, and then we can start making these matchups with a little more clarity. Okay, this will be the title eliminator after that. Okay, this will be for the number 1 contenders. Okay, for real. So once that
Or
clears up,
retire
I think,
Jones, and
yeah,
then I would just have the belt. Either
exactly.
or.
Yeah, I know. Is John going to retire or not? He's kind of going back and forth between I want a payday or I want to retire. So we'll see with that.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. But like I said here, I went with Almeida, you went with Spivak. So
Brady
we're on a
got me
little bit of
there.
a roll here. We're on a little bit of a roll here, but trust me, goes down after this one. So we move on to what any other card. This is a co-main event fight
Yeah,
for sure, or main event, but
yeah,
co-main event. We have Yuri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill in what could be a light heavyweight title eliminator based on what happens with Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira, which was announced for UFC
Finally.
312. So thank God.
Ankalaev gets his wish.
312 was announced. 2 fights during this card. That's coming up. We have Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev finally. And then the co-main event, we have Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker, which is going to be awesome. That's the fight I want.
That's a violent fight.
For that. That's a BMF fight without the BMF title on the line because that's going to be crazy. But Yuri, Jamal Hill, hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. I have so much to say about this fight because this, to me, before we get into the co-main event, this was my fight of the night. I was like, damn, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
First, I'll say Yuri Prohaska did get the win. He defeated Jamal Hill via TKO in round 3.
Let's go, Yuri.
Wow, first of all is what I have to say. Second of all, how hard does Alex Pereira hit?
Yeah, Phil,
because
you told me that yesterday.
Jamal Hill and Yuri Prohaska have chins of steel because they were hitting the shit out of each other early. They were swinging. First of all,
the whole fight,
Jamal Hill was looking for that knockout.
Yeah,
quick. He was swinging hard. And then Yuri Prohaska was cracking him back. Yuri did drop him early, but he got up, and Jamal did wobble Yuri a little bit. And I was like, oh, my God, someone's definitely going to sleep.
Yeah, it was one of those round fights.
And I was like, holy shit, these two are crazy. They did the thing before the fight where like Alex and Yuri did, where they like faced off and just like stared at each other and then went face to face and did it. It was awesome. But I was like, on that, I don't want to say nervous because I wasn't nervous, but it was like oh my god, someone's getting put to sleep any second here. Because every big exchange, I was like, oh, because they were getting close and they're swinging and then they back up, and then they get close and they swing and then they back up. And then in the third round, Yuri just spun Jamal Hill's head around and put him down. And then, to be fair to him, though, he tried to get back up. He was like kind of moving around. He wrestled him over to the corner. He tried to roll backwards to get out of it, but he just ground and pounded him until the ref jumped in and TKO. Very good. I hope now a lot of people put respect on Jamal Hill's name. I've been a big fan of Jamal Hill from the start. Like I actually love Jamal Hill. I think he's very, very, very good. Yeah. Obviously, people didn't like the way that he reacted to the loss to Alex Pereira, which is what it is. But hopefully, they put respect on his name after this because he has one hell of a chin. And again, I reiterate how hard this Alex Pereira hit because he put both these guys out with ease.
Yeah, it was just insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was like you were saying, it was one of those fights where both guys were landing these crazy shots, and it was just a matter of time before one of them is going to come out of these exchanges on the ground. And unfortunately for your pick, it was Hill. But yeah, I feel like at any point, if Hill landed a few more shots, Yuri could have been down. Because Hill, it was one of those fights where both guys, I feel like, looked like, pretty much the best versions of themselves, where Yuri's defense was looking much improved. He actually had, some effective head movement, not just moving his head into the strikes and blocking it with his head, but he was actually getting the footwork incorporated, getting the pull counters, and he was looking really smooth in there compared to, it was still obviously a Yuri style where it's not the most technical. He's going to have some openings. He's going to get hit, but he looked a lot more, at least worrying about defense a little more. And he needed to because Jamal was looking sharp out there. I feel like Jamal was really sharp, and his counters were on point, and his straight shots were like really finding Yuri, and he was timing him especially in the earlier rounds. And then, it was just a matter of whose chin was going to crack first. And unfortunately for Jamal, it was his because, I feel like Yuri hits, I feel like, a little bit harder than Jamal. I feel like Jamal is a little bit more precise with his shots and able to set him up a little better. But when Yuri connects flush, you might be going down if you don't have a really good chin. And so I feel like this is one of those fights where both guys looked really good. So my stock does not go down in Hill, like you said. I feel like hopefully some people put a little more respect on their name, but knowing how the internet works, they'll probably just be like, "You just got knocked out again, bro. This is what's the excuse this time? No Herb Dean to step in and cause you to lose this time."
Yeah.
So I feel like I hope Hill's doing okay in terms of mental health, in terms of not crashing out online. But yeah, Yuri, man, I picked him, and I love Yuri. I like both guys, but I like Yuri a little better, and he paid me back for having faith in him with a beautiful knockout.
And he broke the haircut curse.
Yeah, broke the haircut curse. Freaking shaved off his antenna hairstyle, little warrior ponytail, because one of his fans, I believe, has cancer, and he wanted to do that in solidarity with her. So I thought that was really cool. And he flew her out to the fight, so you knew he wasn't going to lose in front of his fan. That he flew out all the way over here battling cancer, had to get the W for her.
And he did indeed. One thing I did want to touch on was get your opinion on this. So, a lot of the issues, or I should say, I don't want to say issues, but a lot of the talk around Yuri is that he has terrible defensive with his hands. He doesn't keep his hands up, keeps it down. He said he's working on keeping his hands up this fight. He was happy with it, but he wasn't fully happy with how much he kept his hands up. I was not happy with it. I thought that he definitely could have had his hands up way more. He was getting hit by Jamal. He'd put him up and then he'd immediately put him back down. He has to work on that because, especially in this division, you keep your hands down, he's going to keep getting cracked. And eventually, his chin's going to wear down.
Yeah, I agree. Where it's like, I feel like with Yuri, it kind of does depend on matchups with him, where if the dude does have insane power like Pereira has, like where it's literally like one missed moment and you're waking up, the lights are looking down on you, head up to the sky, back on the ground, you're out cold. But with Yuri, if you can't do that, he's just gonna keep coming. No matter how much times you hit him, you're gonna have to put him out cold. Otherwise, he's gonna keep freaking throwing these insane strikes from his hips, spinning around. I mean, it's tough with Yuri because I feel like his style is just so ingrained into him at this point, where I feel like he's never going to be super technical, where he's just going to have to kind of modify his style, where it's still his style, but it is a little bit more defensively sound. But yeah, I think he's always going to be there to be hit. It's just a matter of if he's able to avoid it long enough to get the knockout. So in terms of him calling out Alex Pereira for a third fight again, like he did, man, that was a crazy call out. He's like, man, I need to fight Alex again. I was like, okay. I want a third fight. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want to call him out either, bro.
No.
But Yuri's like, bro, I have to. It's like there's no one really else for him to fight. It's like,
if you're the booker, do you give him that fight next?
I mean,
obviously it depends on Ankalaev.
Yeah, I mean,
if Ankalaev wins, Pereira's getting a rematch immediately.
Yeah.
But if Pereira wins, do you give Yuri
a shot? It's tough, dude. It is tough. I don't even know if it's like who else would it be at the same time? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
it's tough.
That's the issue. That's an issue.
Because like I said, I feel like matchup wise, it's just not a good matchup for him. But I mean, hey, you never know. You never know.
There's also the tease, I guess, of Alex going up to heavyweight. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. But
yeah, exactly. Right. Or it's kind of up in the air. Where is Alex going to stay at this weight class? Is he going to move up, try to become triple champion, 3 different weight classes, becoming a champion? So yeah, I feel like with that one, we'll see how it plays out with Magomedov on Ankalaev and Poatan. And then also Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. I feel like winner of that fight could get a title shot as well.
Or could fight Yuri.
Yeah, 100%. Or could fight Yuri. I feel like Yuri versus Khalil Roundtree would also be really fire. Obviously, Khalil might need a little bit of time off after his last fight versus Alex, where that was a pretty crazy show of heart. He was freaking getting his butt beat pretty bad in there, but put on a great fight. So I feel like Khalil and Yuri would be an absolutely insane fight. So there's definitely some fun fights for him to make, even if it's not the champion.
Yeah, I agree. But I went with Jamal Hill. I thought the power would kind of overlap Yuri's, but I was wrong. You were correct. You went with Yuri. You got one here.
Bro, shout out Yuri, having my back.
And then we move on to the championship fights, and this is when things started to pick up here. So they had when the championship fights start, they had the ring banner around the video screen lit up with a title, and there was gold flashing everywhere and smoke coming down, and you knew it felt like a big fight.
Yeah.
Into a dome with all the new shit, it felt like a big fight. And then they had both fighters, or I guess all four fighters in the co-main and main events, had logos on the screen like it was WWE. Big entrances, custom logos, video like entrance videos. They had it all. It was crazy. So we get into the co-main event, which was Merab Dvalishvili defending his bantamweight title against Umar Nurmagomedov. And Merab won a unanimous decision, 49-46, 48-47, 48-47. What a fight this was. This did win bonus for fight of the night. It was great. It was a great fight. I thought fight of the night was going to go to Yuri and Jamal Hill, and then this fight happened, and I was like, oh, that's going to be a hard one. And yeah, this was good. This was so I'll admit, full stop. Thought this was going to be boring. I was like, this is going to be a boring ass fight. They're just going to wrestle each other the whole time. It might be entertaining for if you're a fan of wrestling, which I am. So I was like, oh, it might be a little entertaining to see the scrambles and stuff, but for the most part, this is going to be boring. I was wrong because the wrestling really canceled each other out, especially in the early going, and it was a striking fest.
Yeah.
And boy, was it fun. So Umar Nurmagomedov could not take down Merab early. He couldn't get him down. Merab was an absolute monster, but Merab couldn't get him down either.
Yeah, it was kind of a stalemate.
So they're like, screw it, we're just going to strike. And they did. Umar, surprisingly, was out striking Merab in the early going. First round, second round, he ended up busting his eye up a little bit. He was bleeding. I was like, damn, Umar, he got hands a little bit. Where did this come from?
And his kicks.
I knew he had kicks.
Really
he
fast,
had crazy kicks. He's fast, and he didn't land a head kick, but he was throwing them, and Merab was getting out of the way. But shout out to Merab because they were coming from out of nowhere. He was throwing them real quick, and it was crazy. I don't know how none of them connected, but then they were trading leg shots back and forth, leg kicks, and Merab started to work on the body, punch to the body, which I think really helped him in the later rounds, as we'll get into. But first round was, to me, everyone was like, Umar takes round one. Umar takes round one. I agree, kind of, but I thought it was closer than people were letting it up to believe.
Yeah, it was close.
It's a stalemate. I thought it was pretty close. You could give it to either guy. Second round was definitely Umar. Umar won the second round. He started to I don't want to say he was getting takedowns, but Merab was getting right back up. So it wasn't like he controlled him really at all. But he was also working on the feet. Like I said, he ended up busting him up in the second round a little bit. Umar won round two. Then round three, much of the same. Umar continued on the feet. Couple try and get takedowns here and there. Merab will block it, but he come out of exchange with a strike. And I thought he won round three. I'll stop it there. What did you think of the first three rounds? Did you give it all to Umar?
I wouldn't say that. I will say I wasn't even really scoring the fight as I was watching. But I did notice, what I did notice in the first few rounds was, yeah, I feel like Umar started out better. And, but I feel like even towards round three, I could tell Umar was starting to get tired. And this pressure, this pace was going to, maybe be too much for him, because it was that classic Merab pace where constant takedowns, even if they're getting stuffed, he's going to keep trying. And then both of them are honestly trying for takedowns. And then the stand-up was like constant and constant pressure. So I really wasn't sure who they were going to give it to for the first few rounds. I think that I feel like Merab probably got at least one. And then I feel like it was probably either 2-1 either way. And then I'm like, all right, someone's going to need to take these last few rounds in order to win it, is what I was thinking. Yeah. And I was like, all right. this is good for Merab. I thought once it gets past the first few rounds, I'm like, Merab's gonna start outpacing him and start breaking him down. And I feel like that's kind of what happened after the first few rounds were pretty competitive. But I feel like after a little bit, it started to become apparent that Merab is gonna be in better shape at the end of the fight than Umar is. I feel like a lot of that has to do with experience, where Umar hasn't really been tested, like pretty much in any of his fights, and Merab is out here fighting the best of the best. I mean, Peter Yan, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley made them all look easy. So I feel like all those fights really helped Merab, and just having the experience of going all 5 rounds and being in competitive fights in those 5 rounds really helped him in this fight. And I think that Umar had a good account of himself. Apparently broke his hand in round 1.
Yeah.
So especially if that really happened in round 1, then I really think that if they do run it back, then it could be a little bit of a different fight. But in terms of this fight, I think that Merab, did what he needed to do to get out of those first few rounds, because I was kind of worried where he did get wobbled a little bit in one of those early rounds, and I thought that maybe Umar was going to get him hurt and get him out of there, but he was able to recover and keep going. And man, once Merab gets out of that third round, you really got to be careful because his cardio is just like unmatched.
Yeah, so it was. I don't want to say it was a controversial decision, but a lot of people, apparently, Umar fans, thought it was. So I personally had it. Wasn't sure on the first round. Thought it was pretty close, but I was leaving it up to this could be the decider. Second round, I thought Umar won. Third round, I thought Merab won. Going into the fourth and fifth, I was like, okay, we're 1-1 in my head. We're 1-1 with the first round being a null and being like this could be the deciding round later. So it really came down to one could win 4 and one could win 5, and then the first round was a decider. Well, that wasn't the case in my opinion because Merab started to put it on in round 3. Thought he did enough to win that round, and then in the corner between round 3 and 4. It was very evident that Umar Nurmagomedov was tired.
Yeah.
Badly tired. He was like breathing heavy. Merab's over there stretching and getting ready. He was chilling. We come out for round 4, and that was 100% the case. You could tell Umar was tired. Merab was just getting started. This guy, his nickname's Machine for a reason. This guy's insane. I don't know what he does, but he does not get tired.
Bro, I need the cardio routine, bro.
He came out there, spamming takedowns, just doing anything he could.
It would be like 5 takedowns in like 10 seconds, literally.
And he ended up, spoiler alert, breaking George St. Pierre's record of most takedowns in the UFC. He broke it.
For real.
Not surprised. Yeah. Not surprised at all. He had like 20-some takedowns in one fight before, and then this one, it felt like he was getting close to that. He was just...
He probably attempted close to 30, right?
He definitely attempted over 20 for sure, probably close to 30. As far as landed, I don't know. I don't know exactly how many he landed, but he in the fourth and fifth round, he was getting him down, and then he'd get up, and he's getting him down, and he'd get up, and then he'd get him down. I was like, oh my god, Merab, chill.
For real, straight slamming him. I'm like, what?
Umar was so tired, he couldn't really get the strikes off. He landed a couple strikes, but he couldn't really get his strikes out. He was just so tired, and then Merab was really pressuring him, and then we headed into the fifth and final round, and it was much the same as the fourth, just even more so. He was really taking him down, getting him down. He started controlling him a little bit on the ground. Nothing really came of it, but he was at his back for a little while. And then as the round started to come to an end, Merab was slamming him down, ankle picking him, flipping him, taunting to the crowd, hyping the crowd up, doing like little dances while he was slamming him, and then he'd do a dance and he'd let him back up and take him down again. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Merab is what he says he is. He is a machine. He is something is not right with him. I don't know what it is, but he just does not get tired like a regular human being would.
Yeah.
Like all that pressure, all that cardio, constantly moving, constantly taking someone down, up, down, toning, do this, and he's just like, how are you not tired? I don't understand it. How are you not tired?
Yeah, and he has the energy to start talking to the crowd, hyping up the crowd. Like he was
pointing, laughing at Umar.
Yeah, it's like once those last few rounds happened, it was like the Merab show where it was honestly probably pretty humiliating for Umar where
Yeah.
he comes
And the
from
crowd flipped
Dagestan.
too.
Yeah. He comes from Dagestan, has been training with Khabib and Islam pretty much his whole life. And then to get kind of embarrassed like that with the grappling is pretty like, I mean, it's got to be probably one of the first times he's been manhandled like that against someone his own size. I mean, Coach Khabib probably, has his way with him in practice, and Islam is much bigger than him. So the bigger guys probably have the way with him. But, I mean, someone his own size, probably smaller than him. I mean, Merab is a pretty small guy, even for 135. He's probably like 5'5", 5'6". And
he's tiny.
He was like tossing him around in there, freaking taunting him. And yeah, man, the crowd was into it. Even though Merab is kind of a decision machine, we will say that. At least he makes it entertaining with, his antics. Like he'll be kissing on Sean O'Malley. He'll be playing to the crowd. Freaking, I love when he stuffed that takedown and he's just standing there, just like has his arms up. He's just standing there stuffing the takedown. He did eventually get taken down like a second later, but I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
He's just like hyping up the crowd, standing as Umar's just on his hips, trying to drag him down. It was insane.
I think this is also the first time and like second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time that Umar was taken down in his career. Like, yeah.
Right? It was just
never been taken down, and Merab did it like 10 times.
Yeah. And
more than 10 times.
What's crazy to me is I know Umar was undefeated. I know all of that. But Umar was a favorite, like minus 200 or something, and Merab was like plus 250. I'm like, how is Merab the underdog? I had to, put a little something on Merab. Shout out to Merab. He was a plus 250 underdog as the champion who's beaten nobody but the best in the division. Literally, I'm like, Peter Yan made him look easy. Henry Cejudo made him look easy. Sean O'Malley made it look easy. I'm like, bro, how much more do you need to be a favorite? I was like, when I saw that, I literally was like, I'm like, I could see it maybe being 50-50. But not Merab being the underdog. I was like, oh my, the disrespect is insane. Like,
I really, 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 really think they gave Umar a high betting odds based on his last name. I 100%. Actually think that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, he's Nurmagomedov. Look at Khabib's the greatest of all time. Look how great Islam is doing. We got to give him. He's the favorite. He's the favorite. Why? He's fought like I don't want to say he's fought no one, but he hasn't fought as many people as Merab, and he's like, really, like Merab was saying, he does not deserve this title fight. He really hasn't beaten anyone crazy to do this. Merab's win streak right now is the names on it are crazy. We got Aldo, we got Yan, we got Nurmagomedov now, we have Sean O'Malley, like Sandhagen, like this guy is beating everybody. So like for him to be an underdog was wild. And yes, if you saw that and you got him on underdog money, good job, because
good on you. Ball. Umar, amazing prospect. I always thought he could be a champion one day, but I mean, as a favorite, I'm like against a champion as dominant as Merab, that was just crazy to me.
He'll be back, but as far as Merab,
100%.
As far as Merab goes, dude, I didn't think this was controversial at all. I thought he clearly won that fight, especially after 3, 4, 5. If you can give Umar round 1, 3, 4, 5, I thought we're all Merab, especially 4, 5. He dominated. People were like, "Well, it shouldn't count." Because defending takedowns don't count for much. Well, also Umar wasn't doing anything. If he's getting takedowns defended, he's also not getting any offense in. So
it's like
Merab wins.
Takedowns, takedown attempts, or nothing. I'm like, I take the takedown attempts than doing nothing. Like,
exactly.
Right? For what did you think of Umar afterwards, saying he thought he won the fight, and not only did he think he won, he was also hurt. He won and was hurt. I'm like, you kind of doing both. So I'm like, well, did you lose because you were hurt, or did you think you won even though you were hurt? I'm like,
yeah, I definitely think he did say, "Oh, I gotta go watch it back," which is fair, I guess. But you didn't win that fight, and as far as the broken hand, Ali, his manager, posted a picture of his hand, and I don't know. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, he did break his hand." The hand.
I know. I saw that picture too. I'm like, it looks like he hurt.
He's just like
knuckle.
this.
Yeah. I'm like, it looks like he got a little cut, and I'm like, it doesn't look that swollen. You know what I'm saying?
How do you know it's broken? Like you don't see anything. It just looked like I put my hand up there like
bro,
that.
right?
I was
like broken hand. I'm like, let me see an X-ray, bro. I'm like, normally they do X-rays for that, not just
I was
picture.
confused.
Like,
I was so confused about that. I saw like someone posted it, and I saw everyone comes, "Oh my god, he actually broke his hand! Wow, wow, wow!" And I'm like, I don't see it.
for real, I'm like, I've seen a lot more swollen hands than that. I'm
Exactly. Like
right.
It wasn't even black and blue or nothing. I was like
Yeah, it
so
wasn't
confused.
even. So I mean, I'm not calling him a liar, but I do want to
I
see
ain't
some
calling him a
extra
truther.
evidence. Yeah, let's see some extra evidence, bro.
But
Like Colby Covington back when he didn't break his jaw
he's a damn.
against Usman.
He
Yeah,
broke his jaw.
he broke his jaw.
So Marab did win. Now we get into the position where what the hell is next for Marab? So we have Sean O'Malley at number 1, who he beat for the title. We have Umar, who he just beat. Peter Yan beat. Sandhagen. Figueiredo, I don't think should get a title shot as of right now. Marlon Vera, who has lost last couple. Henry Cejudo, same. Then you start getting into the higher up in the division. Song Yadong, Rob Vaughn, who has a fight. Mario Batista, who has a fight coming up. Aldo, who he beat. Kyler Phillips, Alman Zabi, Marcus McGee, Montel Jackson, etc., which are obviously not going to get the next title fight. So what the heck do you do with Marab? I don't know. Maybe O'Malley rematch because O'Malley did not get his title rematch technically after he lost. So maybe they run that back. But as far as anyone else, I don't know. Marab destroys them all.
Yeah, I agree, man. In terms of people I think that could beat him, I'm not really seeing anyone, But in terms of who they'll probably give it to, I mean, probably O'Malley if I had to guess, just in terms of who's going to be able to actually get butts in seats. I'd probably go O'Malley, but I feel like it'll be the same result again. I mean, Marab is looking good.
The other issue with Marab is he can't move up because he's friends with the champ. He can't fight.
Tiny.
Yeah, true. He can't fight Taporia. They're both Georgian. They're both friends. They're both champions. And also, Aljamain Sterling went up to that division to step out of the way for Marab because they're training partners. Maybe Marab's tiny enough. Maybe he drops down.
Yeah, maybe he goes down.
Maybe he goes down.
Dude, Marab at 125 would be unstoppable.
Marab versus Pantoja would be crazy, though. I'm not going to lie. But
100%.
Marab's small, but he's stocky, though. Can he make the 125?
Maybe Pantoja goes up.
Yeah, Pantoja going up would probably be more likely. And
maybe that'll happen. Because I feel like, Marab going down might be hard. But I'm like, he's running out of contenders. And kind of same thing with Pantoja running out of contenders. So it might be the perfect time for him to, move up to 135. I mean, Pantoja is not the biggest 125er either. So I'd be interested to see how they look like size-wise if they ever do fight. But I didn't think of that. That could be good.
I think Marab would be the – I think Pantoja would be the first person that Marab is bigger than.
Yeah, right.
Pantoja is pretty small. But the issue with Marab is that he's stocky, though. He's small, but he's stocky.
Bro, his head is massive.
Yeah, he's like a pit bull.
Yeah.
But he is the machine for a reason. I thought he won that fight. Good job, Marab. I don't know what you do with him next, but he certainly is getting up there as one of the best bantamweights of all time.
Yeah.
They asked him if he thinks he is the best of all time. He said no. He said it's Aljamain Sterling. So Sterling was on a streak, so shout out to him.
Yeah.
But Marab's getting
a humble guy, humble king, Marab. For real, bro. If I was Marab, I'd be like, bro, I'm the best, bro.
I was so shocked to see how many boos Marab was getting and how much people were cheering Umar.
For real.
And then fourth round, fifth round, it fully switched. They were cheering Marab. They were going for him because he was spent taunting. He was waving at the crowd, doing his thing. Yeah. So shout out Marab. Big win. And of course, we're not dumb. Not fully. We both big Marab.
Not fully dumb. We got Marab, baby.
So that was good. Co-main event. Then we move on to the main event. Obviously, as we talked about at the top of the show, the main event was switched up. 24 hours notice.
Arman freaking pulling his back.
He blew his back out trying to impress Nina. And now he had to step out, and Renato Money Moicano had to step up to fight. And I'll tell you something. I bet on Islam with a parlay because Islam's going to beat everybody, I really think. they put in this two guys who were just going to dominate their division on this card with Merab and Islam. But I will say, Renato Moicano has a special ability to really make you believe what he's saying.
Mm.
And he started speaking on Friday night at the weigh-ins, and then all on interviews and on social media. He had me thinking, is this guy going to come out here and beat Islam? Is he going to actually do it?
He's like, I need it more than him.
Yeah, he's like, I need this. I need this. I'm not going to lose. I need to win. I have to win. I need money. I need money. And he didn't. So Islam beat him in 1 round via submission, Darth choke. I think it was like 3 minutes in.
Yeah, not much to talk about in terms of competitiveness.
Yeah, it started on the feet. Hanato was like, I mean, it wasn't much on the feet, obviously, but he started off fine. There was a knockdown, but it was actually a slip. Yeah, well, I thought it was a knockdown fully when I first saw it.
Yeah,
because the commentator went, "Whoa!" and the crowd went, "Whoa!"
And he went down. Yeah, I thought it was a fall. I thought it was a knockdown.
Moicano hit him like under the arm, and then he like slipped and fell down, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" Renato Moicano just took down Islam, knocked him down. And I think the crowd reaction really had Islam thinking like, I can't stay on the feet with him. So he stood up and immediately took him down, like right away. He was like, up, and then you're down. And then from there, roll him over, put him in the Darce choke, lock that thing in. You cannot let him get a choke on you. You can't, because you're not getting him off you. They start to panic, and
that squeeze,
kind of taps out.
It's over.
The squeeze crazy.
You see his back like about to explode. He's like squeezing so hard, dude. I'm like, oh my god, dude. I would not want to be in that position.
Moicano taps almost immediately, and then there we go. Islam in still your UFC lightweight champion.
Bro. A little bit anticlimactic, but
But I mean, also not surprised in a way, because Moicano is was preparing for Beneil Dariush, which is an absolute way different challenge than Islam. Yeah. So not surprised in the slightest. After the fight, Islam, Dana White, he finally agreed Islam is number 1 pound for pound over John Jones. I was shocked. This was the news of the night. I was shocked that he picked Islam over John Jones. But as far as what's next, Islam said, I don't care. Literally anyone, I don't care. And this is yet another issue of who does he fight? Because there's nobody. I mean, if we look at his division, we have Arman, who obviously pulled out, Charles Oliveira, who he beat, Justin Gaethje, he beat, Dustin Poirier, he beat. Maybe Max Holloway could go in there. Dan Hooker obviously is fighting. Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler coming off of a loss, so he's not. Gamrot as well. Dariush obviously just pulled out. Moicano, he beat. Fiziev, which I think has a fight coming up. Benoit Saint-Denis, who lost to 2 in a row now. Paddy Pimblett, Jalen Turner, and Joel Alvarez are deep down. They need some wins. I think now is the time for Islam to move up. But this is yet another situation of him and the welterweight champion Belal Muhammad are friends and train together. So what do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost kind of similar with the Merab thing, like you're saying, kind of running out of contenders. Maybe the lower guy comes up. Ilya, he has fought at 155 before, has had some success there. Obviously, he's undefeated. So I feel like maybe that could be one that they want to run. I saw that.
The issue with that is that Ilya just won the belt, and he needs to defend against other people, though. So it's like, does he deserve to go up and get a title fight after just winning the belt?
For real, I feel like it'll either be Volk and Ilya again, or Ilya and Islam, depending on what they want to do.
Yeah,
it's tough because it's like time-wise, it doesn't really line up like you're saying.
Yeah, they're in a rough spot. They're in a rough spot right now. But Islam did say he'll fight anyone. And, man, I felt bad for Renato Moicano after they interviewed him after the loss. And he was like, I blew it. This was probably my only title shot ever. And I messed up and I lost. I lost the first round. I was so sad. I was like, nah. He's like, I'm getting up there in age. Probably will be the last time I get a title shot. I lost. I blew it. I lost in the first round. I can't believe I submitted in the first round. And I was like, damn.
For real,
He's
that
like, but
works.
he's like, I'll try. I'll be back. I'll try and fight. I was like, you got it, man. You can come back.
For real, bro.
But
Post-fight
he's gonna.
speech even hits when he loses.
But hey, there's some people up there. He can fight Gamrot. He can fight Michael Chandler. Maybe Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier. Maybe he's free. You never know. As for, I want to get your take on this because oh man, I don't know. After the show and post-fight press conference, they asked Dana White what's up with Arman Sarukian. Dana just straight up said he ain't getting a title shot next. He's not, and he reiterated it twice. He said he's not. We're going back to the drawing board, and he's gonna have to fight somebody else to earn his way back up to the title, which I was absolutely shocked by because one, if Armin's hurt, which obviously he says he is, and Dana said, hey, he might be hurt. I don't know now, only he knows. If he's legitimately hurt and couldn't fight, not his fault. He's not lying. He got hurt. Shit happens. Rebook the fight. 2, there's also nobody else for Islam because he's beat everyone else. So Armin has put him in there. Perfect. And 3, then Armin goes on social media and agrees with Dana, which is what? Why are you agreeing that you don't deserve the title shot?
He's like, after I saw Islam fight, I'm good, bro. He's like, I'm good.
Yeah,
bro.
maybe he's like, fuck, I'm not gonna beat this guy. Yeah, definitely. Let me practice more. Like, I was so confused by that. Like,
yeah,
if I was hurt, if I had a title fight, if I literally had a title fight tomorrow and I got injured the day before, they took me out and then he said, oh, you got injured, you're not getting a title fight anymore. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, bro, I literally had the fight. If I got injured, rebook this shit. Armin's like, yeah, you're right, boss. I definitely don't deserve that. Like, what?
Yeah, that is a little weird. It's like, I kind of understand where Dana is coming from, where it's like, how are you getting hurt on the day before the fight? What are you doing to get hurt? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of understand where it's like, you can't be getting hurt right before the fight. It's like, I understand if you're getting hurt in training camp when you're actually training hard, but for you to get hurt the day before the fight, literally like 24 hours before the fight, force the UFC to pay your opponent, or not your opponent, pay another, Beneil in this case, his win and show money for not even doing anything, and then having to change up the whole card, making them change the main event to Moicano. I definitely see why he's like, that cannot be happening again, and just kind of putting it out there. Make sure you guys are not getting injured right before the fight. Otherwise, you're not going to get that opportunity again. So I kind of understand why he did it. But I also am like we were talking about, there's not really many other people ready to go for Islam that is actually a compelling matchup for him. So it is kind of like, I can see both ways where it's probably easier just to run it back with the Armin fight, but also I understand that you don't want to give him another shot after he just kind of messed with your event by getting injured at the last second. Like I said, if it was an injury a week earlier, I feel like Dana would be a little bit more understanding, but considering it was literally like 24 hours before he's ready to walk out there, you're getting hurt. It's either he decided that it was too much or he literally re-injured it while doing something. I don't know.
But also on the flip side of that, though, again, there's nobody else. It would be. I feel like it would be different if it was like there's like 8 challengers lined up for Islam, and okay, you got hurt, you're out. We're putting the next one in. There is nobody. It's just Armin.
Yeah, it's just
Islam's beat everybody.
Like, do you want to throw Charles back in there? Yeah, it's like, do you want to throw Charles back in there?
Which Dana literally said that he might throw Charles back there. He said that. They asked him about Charles' fight. He said maybe. So I was like, well, then what? Just give Armin a shot.
Other one. Yeah, that's the only one I can be like, okay, I kind of understand, but then Islam already beat him, so I'm like,
yeah. But then on the flip side of that, so like I said, Armin agreed with Dana, which was weird, but he did say that he would like to fight Charles Oliveira again, which he already beat Oliveira, but he said he'd like have that fight back for a contenders fight. So if that happens, like I guess, and it's just redoing everything that already happened. They had a contender fight for Islam. Armin won and got it. Didn't get the fight. Okay, let's just redo it again. Armin and Oliveira for the contenders fight again. Like what? But then Michael Chandler comes out and he's like, I'll fight it. First of all, Michael Chandler said it's very unprofessional for you to pull out with a back injury. I had a back injury and I got shots in my back Ayo, and then I had to. He's like, then I had to pull it. I went in and fought, et cetera, et cetera. He's like, I'll fight Armin.
That is
Armin was
hilarious.
like, nah. Armin literally was like, nah, I'd rather fight Oliveira.
For real,
Which I
that is
thought was funny.
hilarious.
He tweeted him. He's like, nah, I'd rather fight
Like,
Oliveira.
nah, sorry, bro.
So
For real,
Michael Chandler can't get a fight.
For real, bro. Michael Chandler, dude, sitting on the sideline, dude.
Poor guy, man.
For real, I fought like one time in the last like while. For real,
like 2 years almost.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! And he lost. So goddamn, Charles beat him.
For real.
This poor guy. He can't catch a break.
Yeah.
But as far as what's next, I really don't know what's next.
For real, I have no idea. Overall, what do you think? Overall, if you could grade this entire card like A to F, what would you grade it?
B.
B? Yeah, I feel like you can't go A just because the main event kind of got ruined. No offense to Moicano, where it was like he's kind of
also the first 5 fights were all decisions. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like B is a good one where it definitely wasn't super disappointing, where there's still lots of amazing moments and fights, but definitely wasn't like amazing. So yeah, I feel like B maybe B plus, but yeah, I feel like B.
It definitely was not the worst I've seen. I mean, we had Yuri knockout Jamal Hill. We had submissions from a couple different fighters. Bogdan got a submission. Running to Ritter got a submission. Jelton Almeida got a TKO, which was surprising.
Yeah, we got Merab flexing on everyone.
Merab had a fun ass fight. Then we had who else? Ricky Tercio's Bernardo Sopach was a great fight too.
Yeah, those crazy upsets.
Great fight. Yeah. A bunch of crazy different upsets, which were sometimes sad. We got
good and bad, depending.
Zach Reese getting knocked out, and then obviously Islam getting the quick submission in the main event. So yeah, B. I'll give it a B. I don't think it was. I don't think I want to go C because it wasn't bad at all. It was fun. I liked it. Overall, I like this card. I've seen way worse.
Yeah,
this was
100%
up there, but it wasn't A for sure. So.
I'd probably say best card of the year. What do you think?
Agreed. But I will say we both did pick Islam. So boom, we both end with 8 and 5.
Let's go.
So 2025 total so far 8 and 5. We're tied.
If you guys want to keep track as the year goes along, see if you guys can beat us. You know, hey, me and Brady are pretty good. I mean, hey, if you can beat us, then you're pretty much an expert.
Hey, I'll count this as a dub. We came out on top. 8 wins, 5 losses. Don't worry about those 5 losses because a couple of them I'm really disappointed in you at Nakamura, at Talbot, at Kevin Holland. It was your fault, not ours.
Yeah, right? Yeah, for real.
But yeah, so it was solid.
Yeah.
The next card is Saudi Arabia, which is February 1st. So not next week, but the week after. So we got 2 weeks from the fight.
Another little break, right?
So we'll see you in 2 weeks because we have a break. We'll do this every Sunday after fights, but there's no fight next week. So that's nice. But I will run down the card a little bit real quick. So we have UFC Fight Night. It is a fight night from Saudi Arabia. So it is on early for us. So 12 noon Eastern Standard Time for
early
for us in America. So the main event is Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov. That'll be fun. Contenders fight probably. We have in the co-main event another fun one in the middleweight division, which we just talked about, was Sharon Magomedov versus Michael Page. So that'll be
banger.
A very fun strike fest, I'm sure. Then we got some heavyweights, kind of fix some things up here. Sergey Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, which should be solid. A fight that I'm definitely interested in the most in the bantamweight division, Said Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Oliveira. That's going to be awesome. I'm very high on Oliveira.
Yeah,
can't wait for that.
If he can get past Said, that's a huge win.
Yeah, massive. Then we have Ikram Alaskarov, who's a up-and-coming middleweight, not ranked yet, but he's going against Andre Muniz. We then have a featherweight bout, unranked, Muhammad Naimov versus Khan Alfili. Then we go into prelims. The prelims, another big heavyweight. Shamil Gaziev, the GOAT, is back against Thomas Peterson. Should be fun.
The GOAT himself.
Jordan Levitt versus Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi. Then we have Terrence McKinney versus Damir Hadzovic. We have Faris Ziam, who's prospect out of France, going up against Mike Davis. We then have Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. And then the first fight is Hamdi Adilawab versus Jamal Pose. Killed that. We have, so that's the fight card in Saudi Arabia. Early start time. The early prelims start at 9 a.m. Boo. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sucks for you.
It's going to be like 7 a.m. for me, man.
7 a.m. for him. So if you're on that time zone, 6, 7 a.m., 9 for me, it's going to be rough.
It's going to be an early one.
Definitely an early one. But we'll be back at noon on the Sunday after. Same time here. So don't worry about that. And then a couple things I wanted to plug here. So I'll start off by saying Talktagon, this is our first episode, but it's not the only MMA adjacent show here on Body Slam. So my guy Kyle over here has some stuff coming up that I'm going to plug. So he will have Sammy the Heat Worthington on his show on Tuesday night to talk about her fight against Clarissa Shields card.
Let's go.
Boxing. He's also covering the fight and interviewing Clarissa Shields and her opponent on Fight Week 2, so make sure to check those out. He's also doing a watch-along for Knucklemania this week, so shout out to Knucklemania. That's going to be fun. It's in Philly. Wish I could be there. So shout out all that stuff over on the KO3C podcast, so the Knockouts and 3 Counts podcast. It's at KO3CPOD on X. Go follow them and go over there for their show. They live stream just like us on X and all that, on YouTube and all that stuff. So check them out. Obviously, it will also be streamed on the Body Slam accounts as well, so you can see that. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. If you're on Facebook watching, make sure to like. X, same thing, I guess, like and repost all that stuff. Follow on X, Body Slam, and on Twitch, the same. Follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. You can follow me right here on X at Brady Fight Talk. And then we have Max over here at Combat Combos on X too. And then also I have to plug this. Make sure to follow Body Slam MMA because we don't have as much followers as the main account, but we're getting up there. We at Body Slam Net MMA, BODYSLAMNETMMA. So follow that over there. And we'll be back. We had some fun predictions. We'll predict every show coming up, and then hopefully I can win because I need it. I need this. I need this badly because on the previous show we did this, and I was getting my ass whooped. So I need this one back.
Bro, the revenge tour for Brady. I'm gonna have to. Can't let that happen.
Right now, in my brain, we're 0-0 because we're tied. We're 0-0. I had February 1st. We're coming.
And you can't just copy me each week. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, yeah, we had some different ones this week, and
it just worked out to be tied. Still,
to be fair, a couple of the same ones we lost. Nakamura, Holland. But we lost all the same ones except one we disagreed on. I lost that one.
Man. Yeah, that was funny.
That was rough.
We'll be back, and as we go, you guys make your predictions too, and you can see how you stack up against some of the brightest minds in MMA. Me and Brady.
And then we have UFC 312 coming up with the main event, Duplessis versus Strickland. Couple fight nights, UFC 213, which I think I said earlier was 212, but 313 is Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev, not 12. 312 is Duplessis versus Sean Strickland. We then have Canania Rodriguez coming up. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. That should be good. Roy Val versus Manal Cate. That'll be good. 313 on March 8th. That'll be good. And then fight night in London. Leon Edwards versus Jack Dillon in Atlanta. So that's all they have coming up so far. But should be some fun stuff coming, though. So stay tuned and check us out every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time.
And go
Anything
Ravens
you want to
tonight.
plug? Yeah, boo Ravens. Let's go. Bills Mafia, baby. Bills Mafia.
Let's go. Lamar Jackson. Action Jackson.
Just so you know, next week I'm going to be on his ass at the Ravens game. If you can't see right here, I'm a Steelers fan. Yes, I know. They're out. And we got beat by the Ravens. I know. But all this means is I got to root for whoever plays the Ravens. And for tonight, that's the Bills. So let's go, Josh Allen. Let's go, Bills. Let's get it done.
The real MVP will be revealed today. It's going to be Lamar.
Josh Allen. It's going to be Rookie of the Year, Jane Daniels. No, but for real, let's go, Bills. The Ravens suck. Anything else you want to plug?
Nope. Just follow me and Brady, and tune in next week, or I guess 2 weeks from now, guys. And have a great rest of your guys' week. Go Ravens.
Go Bills. Go Mafia, baby. Let's go. We'll see you next week. Or 2 weeks, actually. Peace.